he certainly, all the opinion poll evidence suggests he's at the moment about 4%, between 4% and 7% behind in the polls. But he has been closing the gap during the last week, and the two candidates had quite a tense TV debate, which went on for nearly 3 hours. Some people felt that Sarkozy clawed back quite a bit of ground during that debate. He came across as very fluent, dynamic, and challenging some of the points that Francois Hollande, the moderate socialist leader, has been putting during the campaign.
If he does lose, France will gain its first socialist prime minister in 2 decades. What effect do you think that will have on the country?
Well, it depends to what extent Francois Hollande actually implements the promises made. He's pledged to increase the minimum wage. He's pledged to reduce the working week. And he's also, in addition, suggested that for some workers, the retirement age will go down from 62 to 60. So it depends whether he'll be in a position to honour some of these promises.
And they are both campaigning on such different things. Like you say, Hollande, they're campaigning on fairness. How do you think if he was to take it out, how would that represent the feeling of the country?
I think there is a feeling that Germany has driven the austerity. Germany has perhaps had a little bit too much influence in shaping the economic policies of Europe. There is a feeling in France that France needs to do more to close some of the divisions. Mr. Sarkozy, I think, has been admired for his energy and his dynamism, and also the fact that he's been prominent internationally. He was an architect of the G20 group. He's also very prominent in trying to put together a European response to the Wall Street crash of 2008, 2009. And in that sense, I think he won some applause in France, that he gave France a voice in very important events. But he doesn't seem to have been particularly good at reducing inequality within France. And I think many people feel that he's been a president, it's probably unfair, but many people feel that he's been good for the wealthy and not particularly for those who are of less means.
What about the wider issues with this? Like, how would it affect Europe's efforts to fight the debt crisis?
Well, that's the big issue. I think a lot of both Britain and Germany are watching this election very closely. Mr. Hollande has said that he will seek to renegotiate the fiscal pact that was agreed amongst 25 of the 27 countries of the EU. And this, of course, provided for fiscal discipline and also a clear plan, an austerity plan for Greece. And it came after an enormous amount of negotiation. So the fact that possibly the new president of France said that he wants to renegotiate that will cause some economic and financial uncertainty and may alarm the markets in France and elsewhere.
But Mr. Hollande is also untested, isn't he, internationally? Do you think that would be a problem?
A lot of our leaders, before they become, whether it be Prime Minister or President, have little foreign policy experience, and it's unfair to expect them to have that in advance, apart from reading and maybe some sort of experience in a political portfolio where that expertise is required beforehand. But many leaders get into that position without that expertise. I think you have plenty of people on hand to give him advice and help. It's interesting that both candidates have been quite measured on the foreign policy front. Both have indicated a concern to concentrate on France's welfare, although they have different prescriptions for that welfare, or that prescription for improving France, I should say.
So who do you think will get the votes tomorrow?
Very difficult to say. I think it's going to be closer than many people predicted. It looks like, if we're to believe the polls, that Mr. Hollande is going to get there by a nose, but it remains to be seen.